There's a video going around where a guy is explaining how there's no such thing as white pride because there's no such thing as white culture. I disagree. That's not the truth at all. Here's my opinion, but it is fact, and this may not be popular thought among Caucasians, and is definitely not on Google. White culture stems from historical European dominance and world exploration and subjugation. Spain and Britain in particular for most parts of the world. The main thing white culture does is take over or outright erase the cultures and history of indigenous people. I used to think it was simply a result of European rule or a European culture. However, upon further travels and communicating with people from other countries, white culture, quote unquote, and European rule/law go hand in hand, especially if darker skinned humans are among the white ones. As long as there is a large enough group of men or women who call themselves white, then there establishes a white culture. And if said group has the power to enforce the principles of it upon others, then the culture becomes as real as a brick to the face, regardless of the fact that there are no actual white or black people on the planet. That is why I keep saying words have tremendous power. Once the rules and the laws are in place, these words on parchment or paper, once they are enforced in the minds of the people, then that's where the programming begins. White culture introduces a color system to those exposed to it. While a color caste system isn't solely used by white culture, because Indonesians use it, the racial color system used in white culture has a far greater global spread and has been particularly vicious to those outside of it. The purveyors of white culture refer to themselves as white, which makes everyone else who is not white another color by default. Example 1. Africa and its denizens were not called the quote-unquote black lands and the quote-unquote Negro land until European discovery. Color is an adjective, not a noun, which is a person, place, or thing. So a man or woman is not a black, but that doesn't matter once white culture is established. I am white, and by default, you are something else. Example 2. In the first U.S. census taken in 1790, just 4 categories were used: free white males, free white females, other free persons, that would be Indians, and slaves. Not black yet. However, the Native Americans were called quote-unquote red men and quote savages for years. Colorism was established. After all, the Indians did not consider themselves red until Western settlers called them such. You may recall all of this in this video right here, The Fall of the Indians. The 1820 census added a new category called colored, still not black, but still separates from the word white in the culture of whiteness and its people who call themselves white. In the 1850 census, slaves were listed by owner, and a B indicated black, while an M indicated mulatto. This belief of white culture is taught or enforced in different ways, sometimes outright, other times subliminally with propaganda, i.e. most advertisements and the like feature Caucasian actors. Historically, white culture enforces its color system with violence upon indigenous or inferior quote-unquote people. Currently, it does the same, but in measured dosages via white supremacist groups, systemic racism, and inherently biased police tactics. White culture and religion. As a branch of European dominance, white culture maintains the Caucasian version of Jesus of Nazareth. Now, Caucasian is the actual scientific term, but in white culture, Caucasian is called white. Even though the general consensus of most scholars is that Jesus was an actual historical figure, like Siddhartha Gautama, also known as the Buddha, who some say Jesus actually learned from, there is no actual scholarly agreement on what Jesus looked like. The Bible itself offers very little help in that regard, as some versions have Jesus with a flaming sword in his mouth and feet aflame. What science can agree on is that Jesus was Middle Eastern. Considering the geographic location of the Middle East and its people, Jesus' face was at the very least bronze or tanned, hence the biblical skin of bronze. Even though historically every ethnicity has their version of Jesus, white culture seems to be the only culture that will not yet widely accept accept any other quote-unquote color of Jesus in Christianity. Alternately, black culture, which also includes black Christians, allows Jesus to be a darker hue and white. Again, historically, there have been different ethnic depictions of Jesus Christ, mind you. So they're out there to be had. White culture simply won't allow them. The term superior race is used in Andrew Jackson's 5th annual address. Again, I spoke about this in the Fall of the Indians video. Andrew Jackson's 5th annual address was in 1833. White culture was already established and can very possibly be the originator of the term superior race far before Hitler, which means that the term and doctrine of white supremacy stems from white culture and by extension, historical European dominance. The terms black, colored, Negro, Sambo, nigger, and a few others originate from white culture and its penchant for assigning colors to others deemed inferior. So again, there is without a doubt a white culture. There is without a doubt white pride every single time a person that is scientifically Caucasian and Homo sapien proudly calls himself white. That is pride attached to a color. Keep in mind, people, the science. Caucasian has nothing to do with the word white. It bespeaks of origins, not skin color. Whiteness is an invention, but it is very, very real. The culture of white is extremely real. The effects of white culture is extremely real.